Hi and welcome to The Winning Factor. I'm Alan Aitken, and on this show each week I take a look at some upcoming races in Hong Kong and we try to sort out an angle to the race we might look back on later as having been the path to finding the winner. Well, Derby Day has finally rolled around. There's been millions of dollars spent and a lot of time and hard work gone into trying to win this race. It's the most popular race in Hong Kong with the participants and the owners and the trainers, so it's certainly one that everyone wants to win, and we've got a great addition for 2022. And it's the first race I'm going to take a look at on Sunday, and our winning factor in race 8, the 2022 Hong Kong Derby, the map. Well, the Derby this year, for my money, will come down to 5 main chances. The Classic Mile winner, Romantic Warrior, the Classic Cup winner, California Spangle, and the horses who've chased them home in those races, the Irishman, Turin Red Sun, and Senor Toba. Now, of the last 8 Derby winners, only 2 did not come through those 2 4-year-old series races. They were both trained by John Size, Ping Hai Star and Luger, and Size has just the lone runner in this year's Derby who also missed both those races, Crossford. Make of that what you will, but for me the form coming out of those 4-year-old races is the key, and let's take a quick look at where they finished. And you see here a breakdown of those of Sunday's Derby runners that ran in the 2 traditional lead-up events over 1600 metres and 1800 metres, and you see the main Derby protagonists all contested both races. So you must be thinking to yourself, well, same horses, same weight conditions, must be easy. Well, yes and no. We certainly get a chance to compare different horses, but when you get different draws, different speeds and different race configurations, you can get different results. But they are the key races, so let's take a look at the first 2 of this year's 4-year-old classic events. Firstly, the Classic Mile. And Romantic Warrior in light blue colours has gate 1 in blue and white with a yellow cap. Next to him in gate 2 is the Irishman, and burning over the lead from gate 13 we see California Spangle in the yellow and red. Now you can see on the heat map there very fast pace in the early and middle stages of this race as California Spangle hurdles across the field to lead, burning up his petrol in the first half. Meanwhile, Sha Tin on Romantic Warrior is able to get to quite a relaxed energy saving run in the early stages due to that good draw on Romantic Warrior. He rails up on the circle, turns into the straight with really only one horse to go around, and that is California Spangle, and the energy that he's been able to save all the way does prove the difference in the final stages. Now, when these horses went to 1800 metres for the second leg of the series, yes, a couple of things have changed. 200 metres further to run, but also 200 metres further in that straight run down to the first turn, and different draws for each horse as well, because now California Spangle was drawn nearer the inside and Romantic Warrior went out to gate 13. So let's take a look at the Classic Cup. And I want you to note here the gate speed from Romantic Warrior out wide. Now, Sha Tin obviously trying to do something about that terrible draw out there, and unfortunately for him, it all goes horribly wrong. A few horses kick up under him and he gets stuck out wide for the entire race. While this time, California Spangle, ridden by Zach Purton, is able to take his time about getting to the front. Purton knows he's too quick and doesn't need to rev the horse up and waste energy early. Now, the 50-cent opinion here was that Purton was able to go slowly on California Spangle, but the sections were faster than average, as you can see on the heat map. Now, some of that was wind assistance, true, but he certainly didn't walk them in the lead. In the straight, California Spangle gets clear at the 300 metres and has the race won, while Turin Red Sun works home well for second in front of Money Catcher, and Romantic Warrior, he's had that really tough run, but he tries very hard, staying on for fourth. Now, regulars will know that I trot out a few statistics on this show from time to time. Well, here's one that's going to knock your socks off. The last horse to lead all the way in a Hong Kong derby was a horse called Williams Coach, and that was in 1989. 33 years since a leader won the Hong Kong derby, and at that time the race was run over 1,800 metres, the same course as the Classic Cup, so there was that 1,000 metre run to the first turn. Since going to 2,000 metres in the year 2000, there has been no leader win the Hong Kong derby, and a great deal of that comes down to the shape of the course. Now, unlike the mile and the 1,800 metres, there is no long straight run to the first turn here. It's 80 metres to the first turn, and that first turn goes for 500 metres around into the back straight. So if you get caught wide or you're doing work there, it's pretty well game over. And that changes the dynamic for any horse like California Spangle trying to get across the field to the lead in a very short space of time. So when we take a look at the map, different maps we've seen have already dictated different results in the first two of the 4-year-old races, and this time it's even more critical from this trickier starting point. In truth, neither favourite really has the perfect draw, and there's no question California Spangle is the fastest horse and will lead from gate 10, but Purton does have to set him alight from the gates to make sure that he gets across there, and then all Purton's great skills will go into rating the horse so he doesn't overuse his speed, having been set alight early, and doesn't overuse his energy. For Romantic Warrior in barrier 8, the question is whether Teton is able to make better use of that gate speed we saw last time from barrier 13 in the Classic Cup. Now, the trainer of I'm a Single Man, Tony Cruz, has told the press that that horse will be ridden conservatively this time to help him run out the 2,000 metres, and having one less horse under him trying to go forward could open the way for Teton to be able to get Romantic Warrior across and into a kind of trailing spot behind the lead so that he can keep some energy for the finish, and I do think that will be Teton's game plan. So the tip from me in race 8, the 2022 Hong Kong Derby, is Romantic Warrior. His winning factor, the map. The map is always critical in these 2,000 metre races, none more so than this, and I think that those stats regarding leaders are a real obstacle for California Spangle to overcome. I think Teton will be trying to get into a forward spot, but behind the pace with Romantic Warrior, keeping his horse fresher for the finish than his arch rival, and I think that'll be the difference. The second race I'm going to take a look at for Sunday's racing is race 10, and our winning factor here, the tempo. Now this is a typically deep class 2, quite a few with some chance here, and I think most attention is going to be on Joe Moreira's mount Blaze Warrior, a last start runner-up in a similar race, but there can be cases made for a number of horses that raced in that event, Stoltz, Winning Dreamer and California Rad, all of which had hard luck tails from the event, and lightly raced 4-year-old Lucky With You. He's been freshened up by David Hayes, he'll have fans. And down at the bottom of the weights, I think there are chances for Navis 2, dropping back in distance, and Winner Method and Astrologer, both up in class off sound runs last start. So this looks a competitive event, but I think we can narrow it down to 2 form pathways that we can look at. And for the first of them, I'm going to call this the alternative form pathway, because we're only really looking at one horse here. And this is Lucky With You. Now, this is back in January, when he was a runner-up in Class 3 behind Derby big gun Romantic Warrior. This is over 1,400 metres. And as we pick them up here in race 346, Lucky With You, he's in dark blue and white colours, and he begins well here, gets into a good position in the early stages and just sits handy behind what is a pretty consistent lead, good speed on in the race, and there's no question that Lucky With You got his chance to win over the 1,400 metres here. The winner, meanwhile, drawn lower, gets the saloon passage through, and he's just too good in what is a strong sprint over the final 400 metres to the line. And certainly no disgrace there for Lucky With You to be beaten by Romantic Warrior. He certainly doesn't shirk his task, and his finishing speed, in fact, on this day almost matched Romantic Warrior's. Now, David Hayes took some encouragement from that and did try Lucky With You in the Classic Mile after that, but a fast run mile was just a bridge too far for him, and he didn't persist with the Classic path and freshened the horse up instead. Now he comes back to 1200 metres, and that's a distance where Lucky With You has had 4 starts for 3 wins and a second, so it's certainly right in his wheelhouse. As I said, that was the alternative form line, but the main form line for this race comes out of the race won by highly promising 3-year-old Cordyceps 6 recently, and quite a few runners from that race turn up here. So let's take a look at race 462, and Stoltz in white colours with pink cheek pieces jumps fast from gate 3, then Zach Purton decides to let Classic Unicorn cross him, and he takes the box seat behind the leader on the fence. A critical decision, as it turns out later. Blaze Warrior, he's in pale green from an outside gate, and he drifts straight back to the rear of the field, as you see, in a strong early pace. Now, in the straight, Stoltz, he's still behind those leaders as he straightens up, but immediately hits a traffic snarl as the leaders are tired from running along quite quickly, and neither he nor California Rad next to him in the yellow colours have a clear run at the time when they really need to be getting a break before the closers get to full pitch. But the race is gone. The winner joins them, claims the front while they're still strung up, and then Blaze Warrior charges late into second place. And Sunday's race promises even more of a great setup for the horses running on. On the map here, the race has pace to burn. Classic Unicorn, he's once more turning up. We saw how quick he is, but so is Harmony Blessed, just as quick as Classic Unicorn, and they might even have too much pace for a number of others who might ordinarily be seen as likely leaders. Now, Stoltz, he is fast enough to go with them, but I think Purton will ride him similarly to last start, but crucially he has drawn 4 horses wider this time, and I think that might enable Purton to stay away from the inside rail. Lucky With You, well, he looks to be in no man's land from his wide gate, unless connections switch his usual on-speed tactics. There is an argument, perhaps Blaze Warrior is not as well suited this time with an inside draw, but he certainly will get that strong tempo that he wants. So my tip in race 10, Blaze Warrior. His winning factor, the tempo. Yes, he is drawn inside this time, and as we've seen, inside draws can bring traffic problems, but he's certainly going to get the tempo that he likes. I'm sure Joe Moreira will be aware of the traffic issue, and he's going to be finishing strongly over those tiring leaders once again. Well, that's it from the winning factor for this week. Enjoy the Derby on Sunday. We'll see you next time.